Louis Katz Podcast, back again every week till I die. Woo! Got a great guest this week. Up-and-coming New York-based comic by the name of Nick Mullen. Now, I've been a fan of Nick's for a while, but from afar, mostly due to his online shenanigans. What he does is he was writing wild for Thought Catalog under the name Nicole Mullen, and he was posting things that they're satirical, but it's not exactly satirical as much as I'd say just trolling super hard, just fucking pissing people off and watching them freak the fuck out. You should definitely check out his articles under Nicole Mullen, and not only the articles, but the gems are the comments underneath, and just seeing how perfectly Nick gets under people's skins and just fucks with them. Another example of that would be his website, childporn.sexy, which you should also check out. Anyway, I wanted to sit down with this dude, get inside his mind, see what his story is, and we sat down and chopped it up in New York one afternoon. So here it is, me and Nick Mullen. Hope you dig it. I'm trying to stay friends with my exes, and I think that's just a fucking mistake. I don't think that's a thing that people do, and I think there's a reason people don't do it.
It works sometimes, not all of them. It has to happen organically. You can't force that kind of thing.
Yeah, and maybe there has to be a wait period or something like that. I don't know.
I don't think so. One of my best friends was my ex-girlfriend, and we didn't have any kind of wait period. We broke up, and then we were
Why'd you break up?
Because I moved here.
Where'd you move from?
I was in D.C. last, but
and that's where you're with her though?
Yeah.
And how long were you guys together?
10 months. Well, maybe a little bit less. Maybe 7, 8 months.
But isn't that also weird because it's if you just broke up because you were leaving, then there's still it's it never really, you never saw it there was never a thing that was oh, this is why we're not together anymore.
Well, it was a pretty casual relationship to begin with. I don't think it was
so you're fuck buddies.
No, I wouldn't say we were fuck buddies. I mean, we were dating. We were definitely dating.
Okay.
But
you just kept it cool?
Yeah, it was the whole time it was also, I mean, I was always moving to New York. That was always the plan.
Okay.
So it just took longer than I thought.
Well, how long were you in D.C.?
I don't know. I know because I bounced around, but probably a year and 2 months that I left Austin, and then I was back in between D.C. and Maryland.
Wait, so where'd you start stand-up then?
I started in D.C. in 2005. I left in 2008 or 9, and I lived in Austin for 3-4 years. And then I lived in Los Angeles for a while, then back to Austin, then back to back to Maryland to save up money to move to New York.
That's a lot of zigzagging around, backwards and forwards movement.
Yep.
What? Any personal reasons why, or all chasing comedy and just making sideways moves?
Yeah, financial reasons. 'Cause, I mean, New York. When I started comedy in D.C., people would say don't move to New York or L.A. until you have a reason to.
Yeah, sure.
And that's horrible advice. That's the worst advice you can give anybody. Because it's you don't. The people used to say it all the time. You don't want to get seen too early. You don't want somebody to see you before you're ready or whatever. True. Which nobody's going to see you, ever. So it doesn't matter.
I mean, that is true. Well, I do think it's if you're seen as that's, however, if you wherever your home city is, they always see you as a baby. They're always going to see you as a baby. So it's going to be hard for them to take you seriously.
Yeah.
I'd say that's true. But on the other hand, it's you have to sometimes you have to create your own reason. You know what I mean?
Well, so I moved to Austin rather than New York or L.A. when I was 19 or 20.
Wait, how old were you when you started stand-up then?
16.
Jesus, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Have we met before?
Yeah, once or twice, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, through Louisa or something.
Okay.
I think we were just Facebook friends.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Twitter.
All right, so, wow, you started so young. So, wait, how old are you?
26.
Oh, shit. Wow, crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So, all this moving around is it's
Yeah, well, when I was 19, there was no way I could afford New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't afford D.C. I was still living, with my mom.
Uh-huh. How was Austin?
Austin was great. Austin was because I'd already been doing comedy 3 years, so I could come into that scene and not look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a smaller scene, it's really the only important thing. You don't even need to be good at stand-up. You just need to not suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as long as you don't suck,
that's true.
Then people will fuck with you, and you can get, you can get spots and stuff.
Well, also, I mean, I keep having to explain. I don't
and you actually straddle enough that you would know better. But it's like, since you started in 2005, you saw, you're so young, but you started pre-boom.
Yeah.
So to me, around 2008 or 10, it became a different animal.
It was
right?
podcast. Podcast did it. Podcast made being a comedian cool, and it completely changed who started doing stand-up.
You think podcasting made
I
it
absolutely
cool?
think it was podcast.
That's
Because
crazy.
podcast blew up, and then immediately the best podcasts were hosted by comedians because they're good at talking.
Yeah.
So those were the ones that everybody wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it like romanticized or glorified the life of being a comedian,
Uh-huh.
but everyone would hear comedians talk in a relatable way, and they think, oh, that's like me, I can do it as well. And then they all got into comedy. And it's weird because I remember before the boom, if you would talk, like if you ask me, like if people say, why are you a comedian? Or like, you know, anybody that started, I think before the boom, the answer is because it's the only thing I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you just knew. If you
Yeah.
were like funny as a kid and you watch comedy all the time and you loved comedy, comedy was what you wanted to do eventually. And like now you'll talk to people like, I don't know, I was listening to a bunch of podcasts, or like I got really into like 30 Rock and I decided I wanted to be Tina Fey, and it's not like, you know, a thing that they always wanted.
Well, it does seem to be like an identity that people could choose now as like a fun.
That's
it's like a fun
absolutely true.
thing that provides a community and gives them an activity, gives them a
Yeah.
hobby. Whereas it's like,
It's like nerds. It's like being like a nerd now.
Yes.
Like people are like, oh, you know, I'm like a nerd because I got into comic books last year or whatever.
oh, I see what you're
And-
saying. Like,
yeah.
like the current nerd
Rather
trend,
than
the
like,
cool
no,
nerd.
that guy has high functioning autism. That's why he's into that. He's been that his whole life.
That is true. That is like that is, I guess, a way that is different than now. It's cool that you've seen both, because I don't even know how to describe to people. I don't think it's just podcasting. I think it's also I think it's Louis C.K.
Yeah, Louis
And-
C.K.
and
definitely.
YouTube. It's a lot of YouTube, man.
No, man, stand up is not popular on YouTube.
Really?
That's the thing, because I don't put anything online. I don't put any sets online because of all the ways people have blown up through the internet. There's nobody that's gotten popular off just putting stand up on YouTube. Maybe being a YouTube star or like a Vine star that has like a funny channel, but nobody's become like a popular YouTube stand-up comedian.
That's true.
Yeah.
And then you'll see those guys, like even guys that aren't that popular, that have like 1 million hits.
Yeah.
On a, like literally 1 million hits or views on some of their stand-up, and yet they're still not that big. I never thought about that. I guess you're right. You know, because the reason I thought about that was 'cause that's my theory. I just did all these European shows, and stand-up just got big there. They didn't just got there. They didn't have stand-up before 2008, and that's straight up because of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because they never saw it before then.
Huh.
But I guess maybe it is podcasting. I don't know. It's just weird that like all these towns have local scenes. They just didn't have that before.
Yeah. I also think it is like a millennial thing with like the downturn of the economy and shit, and like traditional career tracks like not being there anymore. All these people coming out of college who are also raised to, you know, think that they can do whatever they want. A lot of people feel entitled to creative jobs just because they were, you know, told they were special growing up, I think.
Or maybe the reverse would be that because everyone's job is by definition unstable.
Yeah.
Pursuing comedy doesn't seem that crazy anymore because
Right.
everyone's unstable.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't just, you know, get your fucking English degree and then be making $60,000 a year,
Yeah.
or whatever, how it was 20
That's
years
interesting.
ago.
I never thought about the economic part of it. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So wait, so you're in Austin and you're doing good there, and then you move to LA for a while from there.
Yeah, because in Austin I was like, I got to the point where I was able to feature on the road.
Who were you working with?
Ryan Stout was like the first person to like
Oh,
give
awesome.
a shit about what I was doing.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
cool.
No, he was the first guy that, beyond other like just, you know, open micers or whatever that were
You know,
doing
we
bar
started
shows.
together and all that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In San Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy. We don't talk that often, but yeah, he helped me out a lot when I was like 20, 21, something like that. 22 maybe. And then, yeah, it was funny because he was like, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to get, because like Ryan blew up pretty early. Ryan was 23, 24 when he started headlining, I think. He won Boston or something. And
Yeah,
then-
he was always so much younger than. He was even young. I was still on the young side when we started, and he was younger than all of us.
Yeah.
And he was always tripping out about how young he was. But then he wore those suits, and he stopped. I thought he stopped coming off. In his head, he knew how young he was, but he stopped coming off young
Yeah.
sooner than he realized, you know, because he wore suits all
Well,
the
he doesn't
time.
look young either.
Yeah.
He's like a tall, like
Yeah.
handsome man.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
he does look like a man, not a boy.
But yeah, no, he was like, yeah, Yeah, no, like I'm gonna help you out, man. I'm gonna like get you a manager. This is like you're gonna have a career. When I was
Awesome.
like 22 or whatever, and then yeah, he put me in contact with a couple people. I just blew everything. Like I ruined. Like did not say the right thing, do the right thing, or whatever. So
You really put that on you? I mean, you fucked it up?
I put it on me because like you know how. I mean, like when you first start talking to like I guess industry people, you don't know that you're supposed to say like, well, I want to be the next fucking Jamie Kennedy or whatever. I want to have.
That's what they want to hear.
I want to be like I want to be at Fat Jew. I want to steal material and like, have a modeling career and make you as much money as possible.
What were you telling them? Well, what were you telling them?
Well, I was like, I want to do stand up. Like what you think you say when.
Oh, you mean being honest?
I was being honest, right? Yeah.
Always a mistake.
But yeah, which you shouldn't do at all. So yeah, no, I guess I blew a couple of meetings, or I say blow, but it's mostly like, I mean, I'm another like white dude that's competent at comedy, So
yeah.
like,
What's special about you?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I was out there for a while, and it was just like I couldn't find a day job, and I had trouble staying sober too, which was probably the biggest issue.
Drinking or drugs?
Just drinking. Yeah.
You sober now?
Yeah, I've been sober for a while. Yeah.
Meetings and stuff?
No, those don't work for me.
Huh.
Just stop, I guess. Yeah,
Cool.
just don't drink.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
But then I ran out of money and I had to leave.
And then you went back to DC and then you came here.
Yeah, I went back to Austin for a while, and then things were good again in Austin, and then I ran out of money there and I went back home because the plan was to I was gonna leave Los Angeles and then go back home and try and save up to move to New York, but I stayed in Austin for like 2 weeks on the drive back, and then I was like, maybe I'll stay like 3 weeks. And then I got booked for South by, and I stayed a month, and then I started dating somebody, and I just ended up staying there for like 7-8 months.
Austin it seems like that as a trap. Like I feel like whenever I'm there, I'm like, I could just fall into this and never leave.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Wait, you're even sober by that time? So you're not even drinking in Austin?
No. Well, I was sober when I left Los Angeles because I drank so much and like fucked things up there.
Uh-huh.
So I tried to stay sober in Austin. I mean, I was relatively sober. I was able to like just have a couple of drinks here and there for the 7 months I was there. And then when I got back to Maryland, I started drinking pretty heavily again. But it was like a good year, I think, that like recuperative year.
And how long have you been sober now?
About a year and a half, since October of 2013.
It's almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, coming up on 2 years real soon.
Yeah.
Do you feel better now? Or do you miss it?
Yeah, I miss it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, of course. Why would you like if I knew that I could just control myself and not go fucking nuts, I would absolutely start drinking again.
Huh.
But I can't,
Do you have like addictive personality in general? Like, is there other things you have problems with?
It's not addictive. It's like I got a consumption problem. Like I can't. Like if I go out to dinner, like and I order food, even if I'm full, I have to finish everything on the plate. I like have to. So
oh, wow.
When with drinking, it's worse because I'll have one beer, I get a buzz, and then I have to drink all the beers. I have to drink every single. beer I can
So you have a problem. Okay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then I would drive home.
Oh, so dangerous.
Yeah.
Fucking. Well, cool. That's good. You stop. It's weird. Like I don't even know. And I missed your set last night. I feel bad.
Oh, that's all right.
But
it's a tight room, anyways.
It kind of always is. We did a show in Greenpoint Matchless, which is Nimesh and Michael Che's. Well, it used to be Michael Che's room, and it's a pretty popular show of people that just want to sit there and kind of laugh every fucking time.
Well, that's the thing, man. It was such a weird vibe because the guy who went up before me, I forget who it was, but he didn't have a particularly good set. But like watching his performance, I was like, well, it's not. He doesn't really deserve to have a better set than this based on what he was like bringing.
Sure.
And they were doing that thing where they're supportive. They'll like kind of laugh at every bit. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I'll just crush, by like bringing it a little bit up top, and then I'll be able to coast once they like trust me to actually be funny.
Yeah, it's always that where you're like, this guy's doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Once I get up there, they'll fucking come around.
Well, I feel like I was happy with the way my set went, but it was like, at no point did it get easy,
Mm-hmm.
And there was no difference between like how bits that are good went and how bits that aren't particularly good went. It was just no matter what, you get that same. This is how much they're gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna shut up.
I mean, that was the problem I had, and I had a weird set. I turned on the crowd. I told them I wanted to kick them in the face.
But that got a big laugh.
Yeah,
they enjoyed that. They enjoyed the honesty. I think you just like
Well, I wasn't like bringing it. I was not bringing it, but it was like it was the thing where it was like as soon as I did a joke where I'm like, this joke like you're saying, like you do a joke that always works.
Yeah.
To get them on your side, and when you're like, oh, you're not going to laugh at that. Well, almost the rest of the set is just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because I can't work anything out. Because if you're not laughing at the stuff that works, how am I going to know if the stuff that doesn't work is actually working, or you're just a bunch of fucking weirdos? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just getting like a little like. I'm just talking my own thing. I'm just getting a little like frustrated about like. I feel like my writing's gotten worse because I'm listening to these crowds. I think I gotta somehow not listen to the crowds, but listen to them or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, I don't know, man. Reading the room is like probably the biggest part of what stand-up is. You know, I mean,
Are you really doing that? Is your act that much different from crowd to crowd and show to show?
the material or the way I perform it or
whatever? You're saying read the room. That's what I'm saying. Everyone says read the room, but really everyone's doing. You're saying that. I guess it's just like the order. It's like knowing like, all right, this is gonna take 3 jokes, 3 solid bits to get them on your side. You know what I mean? That's what I did. I did like 1 solid bit and was like, all right, I'm just going to go into the new stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like probably I should have thought, let me get them with like 3 easy, clean jokes at the top, get them on my side before going off the rails, you know? So maybe that would have been reading the room. I just always think it's like, how different is your act really going to be?
I don't know. I have some bits that I keep pretty fucking loose where it's like, I don't know. I did a show last week where if there's certain jokes I have where the audience is smart enough to laugh at the premise because the premise in and of itself is like funny. It's a funny idea. And then your job as a comedian is to take something that's funny to you and other comics where you know how the rest of the bit's going to go. And then you spell it out with punchlines and shit.
Okay.
You know, you like illustrate what the joke is. And if you're doing like The Road or something and you're working like just a regular comedy club audience, you can't rely on just the premise. Whereas you say like here's a funny idea you present it, people laugh at, like other comics would laugh at it if you were going to run that bit by them. You have to really write out the joke. And I feel like with smarter audiences, especially like a hip or younger crowd, like if you're doing a room that's like, you know, some Brooklyn room, sometimes you can get by on just doing the premise, and then when you go into the meat of the joke where you're actually doing the punchlines, it feels almost a bit condescending because they were already with you on the premise.
They're bored. Like they got it already.
Because they understand how comedy works on a technical level, like comics do, and they're not going to laugh at those punchlines because that's just you doing your job. That's you doing like the act.
That's interesting. I do like that's interesting because what I started to realize was that like, I mean, I think all stand-up is like, it's like, well, everything is communication and stuff like that. And it's like, to me, it's like, it's always so fucking clear to me. And then I realize like, oh, people can't see what I'm getting at. Yeah. And I'm feeling like I have to basically tell them what the punchline's about to be before I say the punchline. And maybe that's true in the clubs and not as true in the alt rooms.
That's what I feel. Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't feel like they're smarter. I feel like they're fucking, I just feel like there's nowhere where... there's never a crowd that's my people. Like it's always not someone else.
Well, it's hard to figure out which way and it is because of like it's not Louis' fault, but it is the fault of the people that try to emulate Louis' style of making like quote unquote conversational comedy. There was some awful article in like I think Vulture about how.
Oh, that article was garbage.
Yeah,
about the new. It was about the comedy boom and the new way that comedy is supposed to be done.
Yeah, exactly. Where the audience has to be on the same page as you. But you know, you go to any open mic and you'll see, you know, people that think that all a punchline has to be is shrugging your shoulders and going, "Really? Oh, that's it, really?"
Well, on the other hand, I feel like maybe some of these new crowds, and I'm always self-conscious about this because sometimes I tell jokes that are like clearly jokes. Like I'm not even trying to couch them in conversational shit because like it's almost. There's no reason why I just do that sometimes. And I feel like they're looking at me like, really? That's kind of corny for you to not make it more conversational.
Right. And I had the same hang up because like you write the jokes and you think that the jokes should be able to stand on your own merit. And it does feel like to some comedians, it feels kind of like if you're performing the jokes or you know, you rely on act outs or the energy of the bit, it feels kind of like bullshit rather than if you just had a joke that was smartly written and written in a way where people would laugh at the logic of the joke or the way the derailment works or whatever. But for some crowds, you just need to be that conversational guy. So you take the premise and you drop the punchlines off and you just work the premise from that sort of like conversational sort of, you know, like really angle. You know what I mean?
You do that sometimes? So you have a premise and
if I'm doing,
and if you're feeling if they're that kind of alt crowd where they want a conversation, you just forget all those punchlines and just riff off the premise.
Well, yeah, sometimes if the premise is about like Like I'm without like giving an example, but like sometimes I'll just sit in the premise and try to be funny with the idea rather than just go to the punchlines because that works better.
See, my problem would be that in a room that was like that, I would already not feel comfortable to do that because they didn't laugh at the punchlines. That would let me know that I shouldn't be doing punchlines.
Yeah.
So I would never get to that level.
I kind of put myself in this mindset of like, and this is like, I don't really like talk about this, so it's like hard to explain really, but like sometimes you'll be you're about to go up and you're looking at the room and you're like, I don't like these people already.
Yes.
And you feel like I don't want to do stand up.
Yeah.
And my impulse when I do that is to go up to another comic in the back and start cracking jokes about how I don't want to go on stage.
Uh-huh.
Because that like relieves stress for me is
Okay.
to just be like, this is gonna be terrible, fuck these people, and then you'll like make fun of someone in the audience or something. But all you're doing there is activating that defense mechanism you have that makes you funny in the first place. So what I try to do is approach the audience as if they're also comics and that
that's
they
interesting.
don't want to do this show as much as I don't want to do it, and then I use that sort of whatever that standoffish energy is or whatever it is that I don't like to sort of like bond with the audience and like I don't want to fucking be here either, but not say that
Yeah.
but try to use whatever impulse I have to be funny with the other comics in the back before going up on a garbage show to connect with the audience.
Well, basically, you're changing it for like you're cutting the wall between you two. Instead of saying it's me against you, you're saying it's we. It's all of us. We're all in it together.
Against this shitty fucking form of entertainment.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That does make sense. I don't know. I mean, usually what I say is that like, what I used to say is that the coolest thing is you go into these rooms where like I have nothing in common with these people. They're I don't know how I could relate to them. And then I usually say the power of that's the great thing about great joke writing is that it transcends that.
Sure.
Is that you can kill anywhere. But I've just like I just feel like I'm listening to my material and I guess I'm just tripping because I just feel like lately over the last few years I've been actually like dumbing my shit down.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that too. I don't try to write. Also, I feel I don't care about shit the way I used to. So most of my material now is about like food or fucking, any dumb thing. If I go on stage, if I had just had the opportunity to talk about what's on my mind, it'd be nothing. I don't think about anything that I would really want to discuss. I don't have any points to make. I don't have an axe to grind. So it is just like, what's the material that I can write that would be fun?
Sure.
Rather than aiming for like smart or, dark or, as long as it's just original, that's really all.
You're just saying before you used to try and aim for that stuff.
I used to guess I had to like, I would want to do material where it's like, oh, this is how I actually feel about something, but I don't care anymore.
And you moved away from that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move towards that.
Yeah.
Fuck, maybe I make a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I just got bored of telling these. I'm like, this joke is funny, but it just has no point of view.
who are your favorite comics? Who do you like to watch?
I mean, my favorite. I guess it tells like my personal favorite.
Yeah.
And then because of my age and just because one of the best, Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Was like I grew up. I'm a teenager in the '90s, so like Rock's just the man forever.
Well, that's how it was for me when I started. It's like the top 5 would be like Attell, Burr, Chris Rock.
CK,
like that.
I like
Louis
Maria
CK.
Bamford and Marin also. I like Marin's first 3 albums are like some of my favorite. Stanhope, of course.
Yeah, Stanhope. But I think like more and more it shifted over the last couple of years where it's like I really enjoy Rory and John Doerr and Sean Patton.
Yeah.
And like I'll laugh more watching Rory do a fucking 10-minute set than I will like my favorite comics do an hour. And that doesn't mean that they're better comics or I mean what it is that guys like Rory just tap into being funny more than comedians that are very good at using humor to showcase a way of thinking or make points or I don't know, I guess be better comedians in terms of what they're doing on stage rather than just being like very funny. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but we're talking about Rory. It's Rory Scovel. I don't know if you said his last name.
Yeah,
if you're not familiar with Rory Scovel, but I mean, to me, when I watch Rory, is the thing that I think about when I'm watching him is just how it's first of all, he's fearless, completely fearless, and I definitely have fear still. A lot of comedies about that, but second of all, I just feel like even if you can attain that level of fearlessness, there's also like it's inimitable. And first of all, the reason you like it more is because it is kind of like it's enjoyable for comedians to watch more because he has no fear.
Yeah.
But it's just like I feel like I can't. I can kind of learn from him, but I almost can't because he just does what he does. Like I'm not gonna do what he does.
Right, that's true.
So it's like
yeah.
I do love watching him, but it's like I can't.
Well, what
can't
he's
do
been
that.
able to harness is what like he is as a funny person. That's not. It doesn't feel like he took his inherent talent for humor, for being funny, and then learned how to apply that to stand-up comedy. What he did was pare down everything else, and just he has this sort of like raw, natural humor to him, rather than it seeming like somebody that's applying a technical skill set to whatever stand-up comedy is.
That's interesting. Because that's actually what I wanted to do when I started. I was a funny person before I did stand up.
Right.
So now it's just I have to find a way to get to be. I think Seinfeld says this in his documentary too. It's like I'm just trying to get more like me.
Yeah,
Just trying to get more and more like you.
Yeah.
But maybe it's like
Well, and did you get less funny when you started doing stand-up, like as a guy, as like just a guy that hangs out?
no, I don't think so. I mean, you have
Really?
to ask my friends, but I don't think so. You did?
Yeah, no, I don't try to fucking. I don't have any desire to try and be a funny guy anymore.
Really?
Yeah, no, not hanging out because you get it through comedy. You feel validated.
That's crazy to me. I love being funny. I mean, I love fucking around and being funny and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Mm.
So you're just like boring to hang out with now?
Yeah. No, I don't have any friends.
That's pretty funny, man.
Well, maybe not completely, but definitely less so. I remember, but it also might be that I was like, I'm saying this is like the difference between me being 15 and 16 years old. So
Yeah.
maybe I just stopped being as loud because I'm not.
A child
Yeah,
anymore.
right,
Yes,
exactly.
that could be it. That could also
Yeah.
be it. Yeah, it could. I mean, you're all warped by the fact that you've grown up doing this now. So
Yeah.
that's gonna fuck with you.
Yeah, sure.
What can I want to ask you about the So I was saying like I don't even know if I've seen your set. I probably have, but I can't remember it, to be honest, completely honest. But I just assume that you're super funny because I love all the stuff you do online, like all that thought catalog stuff. Can you? I mean, how would you describe all that shit that you do?
Well, that's kind of done. I don't know if I'm still.
It's still out there. It's still a
yeah,
body of
yeah,
work,
yeah.
even if you're not doing any more of it, unless you don't want to talk about it.
Well, I don't know. I kind of got trapped. What it is like I didn't like that website,
Uh-huh.
so I started a parody of the website, and then the website found out, and they asked to like run some of the articles that me and my friends had written, and then they essentially like bought me out, I guess, because they just gave me a job writing for them, and I would write as like a. It's like sort of like a megalomaniac mommy blogger character.
Yeah.
But the character's pretty loose, so I could use it to just do whatever I wanted, basically.
Uh-huh.
And then that was like, but it became my day job, so
Oh, I didn't know you were working for them.
Yeah, that was like.
Oh, that's crazy.
I made all my money writing those articles the last like 2 years.
So let's just say what it, like describe. I'll try and describe it. You tell me if I'm wrong about it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're playing this crazy mom characters, writing this thought catalog is like pretty much anyone in the world writes editorials, basically, or blog posts, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And you kind of took them and just would act like this really crazy mom and just have these like. I mean, this is what I wanted to ask you about. So they'd be either. They were very satirical. They would be like saying like crazy viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, were you actually? Was your goal with them to actually satire, and is what your point was the opposite of what you were saying, or were you just trying to be a troll and just saying like this is going to make people angry and that's it?
Day to day. Some of them. So I mean, like I'd say maybe 10% of the time I was like, oh yeah, this is like a funny idea, and then some of them I would really try to like write out and like be funny. At the beginning, I was writing like. I was trying to satirize Thought Catalog and their readership, and then a little bit of some of like the overwrought Think PC kind of shit that's online.
Uh-huh.
And after the first maybe like 10 or so, nobody got it. Like nobody who read it, like all the comments were like, "This woman is insane." I thought people would like be like, "Oh yeah, this is like funny," but no, I just got all this like hate mail.
Oh,
and
you
shit.
didn't know? So you weren't trying for the hate mail?
Not originally. And then after like 4 or 5 of them, it was like, well, fuck it. It like generates traffic. And then maybe 1 out of 5, I would try to like write something that's like fun and funny, and I'd go back and punch it up. But a lot of them, it was like, okay, well, my traffic's not doing that well. I'm going to write a thing about why we should, put down, puppies or I don't know, whatever. Just pick anything that'll make people mad,
Uh-huh.
and write it up. and then see what happens.
So it became part of the goal with that, like.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've always enjoyed fucking with people on the internet. That's always been fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was like a dream job, I guess. But you get tired of anything.
Haven't you? And see, that's funny because that's one of the things that impressed me about it was like I was always like, man, this dude writes all this stuff just in his spare time besides stand up. Like this is crazy. It takes a little magic away from me to knowing that they were paying you to do.
Oh yeah, no, they were paying.
Because that's kind of a thing that I always. What I like about like fucked up memes, just the idea that like, man, someone took the time.
Dude, cumulatively, yeah, I made $30,000 pretending to be just an abusive mother.
Do they own it now?
No, I own everything.
You should make. So you're gonna make a book, right?
No, because no one would read it. If it's all available online, why would anyone pay?
I don't know. Why would they make? Look at this fucking hipster. They made that a book.
I don't know.
Pictures,
I also don't have that kind of traffic. Not many people. There's maybe 50 people that would like actually read what I wrote consistently. Because I mean, I wouldn't even read it. I wouldn't proofread any of it.
Well, they were very long. Some of them I would read like half of them, and then I'd kind of skip to the comments and just see people flipping the fuck out.
Yeah, it was entirely just like, all right, I need to make my money for the day so I can pay my rent.
And why'd you stop doing it? They got tired of you. Got tired of it.
Yeah, they got tired of it. The thing is like with that company, and they're not going to listen to this, but
they might. A lot of people without catalog listen to this podcast.
The guy that like owns the company is like a young guy, and like I think he's my age. I think he's like 26, 27. Wow. He started the company in 2010, so he was like 21, 22 at the time, and it's a giant company. They make a lot of fucking money.
Yeah,
and like. How much of that is luck, like what formula he stumbled upon? Because there's nothing particularly original about that like idea. Like we let people write online, and there's nothing original about it. He just happened to just strike gold. They published a couple of things, built like a good audience, and then successfully monetized the site. And then they had this huge budget for freelancing. And I don't think they made any money off like too many of the freelancers. Certainly not me. I don't see how they made much money off me based on how my articles did. Because the website did so well, I think like he had this idea of like, no, we're really like this website is the right idea. We're really like democratizing content or people's access to a platform, and so. It's kind of shitty, but they like believed in me, and, like I didn't believe in me at all. But after like 2 years of like giving me money, I guess, and then me not really doing anything. I mean, they were very good to me. I don't have anything negative to say about them, but it was like. I guess it got to. I mean, I still have a contract with them, but they like didn't publish like 10 things I wrote like a couple months ago.
Damn.
And prior to that, they had never rejected anything at all. So I think it might just be like they're done. But it's time to move on to other shit anyway. So,
yeah. But so what does that mean? You're still under contract, but they're not.
Well, I still have a freelancing contract, meaning I can still submit stuff, and theoretically, if they run it, they'll pay me. But because of all those rejections,
see, why can't anyone in this business or in life just be like, we're good? So you had to sit there and write 10 fucking things that they had to say no to instead of them just saying no to begin with. Does that bother you?
No. I mean,
really?
Yeah. No, I don't mind so much. I mean, because they were like, we're good for like 2 years. I mean,
yeah, but then at the end of it, why are they wasting your time at the end of it?
I don't know, because they don't know what they want to do or what's going to happen.
Did they change editors or something?
They did. They moved me from one person to another, and then eventually I got pulled off of any kind of editor, and I was just like having to email the person who owns the site directly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is like, I guess they wanted more. A bit. To be fair, like a lot of the times it was like I did some shit on there. It was like clearly like I'm just taking your money. There was one time where I just ran a video of a gorilla eating its own shit with zero copy whatsoever. There was no text. It was just a video. It wasn't even my video. I found it on YouTube and I just ran the video.
And they paid you for that?
Yeah, $100.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was probably the pinnacle of any of it. Because, I mean, I did have kind of like a standoffish relationship with the website itself. But then I worked with those people, and like all of them were like, a lot of the people that work there are like, yeah, we know it's like garbage content for fucking,
well, there was
children.
There was an article about it, how it's like, which the scary thing is they don't. Well, first of all, I have mixed feelings about the democratization.
Yeah.
The internet's made me have mixed feelings about democracy in general, I would say, and especially about content like that. But it was just saying how it's like, do it was about the morals and ethics behind just publishing anything, because that's their whole thing is they will publish anything, and I guess they've run some things that are like super like horrible.
They ran an article by Gavin McInnes that a bunch of people got.
Oh yeah,
mad
that's
about.
what it was. That was the article I read. Yeah, an article about that.
And then people went off after Thought Catalog more than anybody else because people already hated Thought Catalog because the content is all like navel-gazy, millennial bullshit. But because I sort of defend Thought Catalog, but only like slightly, and I feel a lot like like an adult that watches children's shows, and they're like, well, there's actually a lot of jokes in there for grown-ups, and that's the relationship I sort of have with that website. Because a lot of the people that the people on staff that write on staff, they're not dumb people. They know it's like, yeah, it is kind of clickbait or whatever. A lot of it is bullshit, but it's a fucking job.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You kind of made a couple of jokes like trash and millennials, just what we're talking. I know you're just throwing them off, but it's like you were like right in the prime at best.
Oh no,
age.
that's also me. I'm also a comedian that doesn't,
But how do you see it, like as being in the middle of it, but still like kind of hating it? Like, what is it?
Well, that's what everyone. It's the same thing as hipsters.
Hipsters, right?
Yeah.
Everyone who hates hipsters is probably a hipster and all that kind of shit. Yeah. It's so weird, those things that are like people hate it, but they are it. But millennials is different, because I think that's actually my theory with all that stuff is like it's bullshit, it's marketing or whatever. And most generation like categories are completely fictional.
Yeah.
But I think millennials are different, just because growing up with the internet and cell phones versus not, it's just different. That's just like that's a huge different way of being.
I guess to like millennials in the pejorative, at least in like when you're discussing Thought Catalog, means like the lack of self-awareness to write something about like we were smoking cigarettes in Brooklyn and we were artists, like thinking anybody fucking wants to read that at all. And I guess that's the difference between that guy and someone that doesn't do that, even though they both may be millennials.
Yeah, I guess it's just yeah, you're right. It can mean like it's come to mean negative things and all these different kind of things. Oh, shit, we're in a comedy club and they're gonna start an open mic here shortly, but I don't know. We'll still have time. We're good.
Yeah.
So you're bored with that. So what you've done some other shit too? Didn't you have like some funny websites and stuff like that too? Like maybe someone told me about that about you or something like that.
I own the website childporn.sexy.
Yeah.
It's like a one-off.
Yeah, I've seen that. That shit's funny as hell.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I did a show the other week where they had like a projector there, and I was able to just bring it up on stage. So I guess it was worth the $30 I paid for that domain name.
Hell yeah, definitely.
I don't know, man. Fun. Like I want to just do more like projects like that, like small things, or like find ways to fuck with people online. Because I think that's more fun for me. It's like prank calls and fucking with people and doing shit like that than just strict stand up or like old media stuff. But there's no money in it. There's no way to even monetize that.
But you like specifically like pranking people, or I think it's different. Like I feel like there's a difference between pranking people and kind of trolling people, which is like not exactly the same thing.
I forget. I think it was in like the introduction to Vernon Chapman's book.
He wrote a book?
Yeah. Well, he published a book that was like it's called Mindsploitation, and I might be misattributing it to him or the source, but there's some quote that he had that was like.
Is it a serious book or a bullshit?
No, what the book is it's great. It's like genius. So there's all these services where they write like these guys in India will write like essays for high schoolers.
Oh yeah.
Pay like $20 and they'll write your essay. So he's like, hiring these people and then sending them these ridiculous assignments like, okay, we need to rank all of the races from best to worst, and then like going back and forth with them through like the editing process and stuff.
And that's Vernon Chapman did that?
Yeah.
This is for people listening, if you're not familiar, this dude is like he's like he's not totally unsung, but you might not know him, and he's like a straight up genius of comedy. He's been a writer on South Park forever. He did Wonder Chosen, which is like a slept on fucking great show. And and he's just been a comedy writer for a bunch of things forever. Have you ever seen those pornos that they made?
No.
You know about that though, right?
No.
Oh, so apparently there's people. It's kind of like actually the video version of that. There's people who will like if you script a porno, they will make the porno.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and he made it, and I guess their whole thing was to make him like not sexy and as like weird as possible.
That's what I mean. Like, first of all, I think he's like a genius.
Yeah.
And then like Wonder Chosen is one of the best things that's ever been on television.
Yeah, really. There was a point in time in I guess the mid 2000s when MTV2 was like killing it between that and Milanakis, which I thought was also super funny. Like they were the funniest things on TV. It was kind of like FX. Well, I guess FX is kind of like taking that kind of crown, but I mean, I don't know. I thought between those two shows, it was just they were just the best.
Because that's the smartest shit. But anyhow, the quote I don't remember if it was from that introduction or whatever, but it was something about like, the best comedy is where you're not like it's kind of shitty for you to try to be funny, but if you can make someone else do something funny, that there's like a more of like a purity to it, or that's like the funniest comedy. And that's what like I appreciate. Like if you like the prank calls where it's mostly like prompt based, where you just say nothing and you get somebody else to flip out or say something dumb. Those are great. You ever listen to Longmont Potion Castle?
What I don't even know what you just said. Say it again.
There's this guy Longmont Potion Castle.
Longmont Potion Castle.
Yeah,
right.
Some guy in like I don't know Colorado or something that does these bizarre prank calls, and he has like 10 albums. But he's like he just says weird shit, and it throws people off, and they don't know how to respond to it. He has like all these effects pedals he uses. But like that's also something I think is genius. It's like Longmont Potion Castle.
That's interesting. Like watching. I mean, but at the same time, I'm always like, I just feel that the problem with that is kind of like the problem with like Tom Green or something like that, where it's like it's easy for someone else to take it. Then someone else can just do it. You know what I mean? I guess unless you're saying it's actually very difficult to get people to respond in funny ways.
It is.
Okay.
And then it's also like you can never. I think it's the opposite. You can never recreate it. You get that one shot to make things happen a certain way, and you get that one reaction. There's an authenticity to it. You know it's not scripted. Like on Wonder Shows, and when he'd go around with that fucking puppet, it's the funniest shit.
That stuff makes me so uncomfortable.
That what makes you mad thing with the puppet where he won't shut the fuck up and leave people alone.
Yeah.
He's like, what makes you mad?
Yeah.
He has that guy chasing him with the fucking trash can. It's the funniest shit.
Yeah, it is true. And I do like, it's weird because I like that show. I like watching, fucked up things on the internet, but I still don't like prank shows in general. I don't like prank shows. Do you like all prank shows?
No, not really. Not all of them. I mean, I don't watch that much television either.
But pranks, you like pranks. It feels like you're very specific with the kind of pranks that you like.
Yeah, right. And I guess there is a degree of like sort of hipster snobbery to the shit I like, because it's like if Wonder Shows was the most popular show in the world, would I like it as much as I do? Maybe not.
Yeah, you would. It was good. It was just good. I mean, that wasn't.
True.
It was cool because it was underground. Not everyone knew about it, but it was also cool because it was good. It's a great show.
Well, Longmont's pretty underground. Not that many people know about it.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's weird. It's like a weird. There's like there is like an absurdity to it, and then that appeals to me. That it's, you know what it is? It's something that I would never think of. That's what I like about it.
Yeah.
It's alien to my thought process.
Yeah, I love people like who's kind of like that, like Aparna. You know Aparna?
Yeah.
She I don't know how she comes up the things that she comes up with. She's a very funny comic. I work with her and Totally Biased, and man, it's just like I don't even know how she does it. It's just super funny to me.
Yeah.
Do you like Jerky Boys and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, not now. I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I still think
like
that. But yeah, that the mechanic prank call is still very funny to me.
I listened to it recently. That shit still cracks me up. I don't know if it could be half nostalgia for me because that was my shit when I was
There's some
younger.
radio guy in the South that does Ned. Have you ever heard that guy? Ned that does prank calls. He's pretty good.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna try and do like more stuff like that, but what's your deal with stand up right now? Have you been on TV or like
no TV credits? I did Montreal, but
recently?
It's 3 years ago.
As a new face?
Yeah.
How did that go?
I feel like that was like not a particularly good year for new faces. So they were like shuffling venues around. So we did like upstairs in like a skateboard shop and then some cafe.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was kind of. I mean, I didn't mind. I enjoyed it. What I did was I saved up like $2,000 to take to Canada, so that I could just like no matter what have a good vacation, because I didn't want to go with any kind of expectations. I was like, I want to just enjoy Montreal.
Oh, that's smart.
So I thought.
Well, it's also like you did 3 years ago when you're 23.
Yeah, I was 23.
But you're also 7 years into comedy, which is a good amount in, actually. So you're young, but you've already done it long enough to. And did you have friends that have already been on all that stuff by that time?
To Montreal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Austin used to. That was like the cool thing about moving to Austin, is because Austin had a period where if you did comedy in Austin for 2 years and you were funny, like you were funny enough, you got Live at Gotham and you got Montreal.
Yeah.
Pretty much automatically.
It's one of the reasons why I'm saying this for the listeners, not for you. You know this, but I'm one of the reasons why people always like going to move to LA or New York is that's where they have these showcases and these tryouts to be on these TV shows. But Austin and where I started in San Francisco was one of the few places where the talent scouts would actually come to you.
Yeah.
And they would look for talent there.
It was also like when I did Montreal, I didn't have to do a callback. Like
Wow.
because I was the Austin guy that year. Because I don't think they booked, or maybe they did book an Austin guy the year before that, but it was like there was always just an Austin guy that went.
You're saying it's not like that anymore?
No, there was an Austin girl this year. There's like a girl from Austin that went, and the year before that there was an Austin person. But I feel like there's always an Austin person in New Faces, and I'm not sure if they like have to do callbacks or not. And I don't know why that is, but like,
I mean, I've seen like callbacks from Montreal where it's like someone like, I fucking walked across the desert to get here.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the East Coast, you have to do callbacks. But I guess Austin's so far away, they would think it would be kind of unfair to ask somebody to fly to New York to do a callback and then pay for themselves to get to Canada after that.
I've seen them fuck people like that.
Yeah.
I've clearly, it's cool that they don't do that to you guys. But
yeah, no, they didn't do that to me, certainly. But I mean, and I only had to showcase like 3 years before I got it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, but you haven't done a late night spot or anything like that?
No late night spots because I didn't have. I could never get like secure representation, and then that's like really the only. I never had like a relationship with any of the late night bookers.
You still don't have reps?
No, not really. I'm like hip pocketed, but I don't have any. Like I'm not signed with anybody right now. I had a manager, but I fired him.
Good.
Yeah.
Without knowing who they are, good.
Yeah.
What are you working towards an album or something like that, or like? What kind of projects do you have that you want to work on?
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to do the album until I have like consistent headlining work so I can build an hour as its own thing. Because here, you're not doing album length sets. So it would feel like if I went somewhere and recorded it, it would feel disjointed and sort of choppy. I
agree with you, and I would say that 100%, except the weekend I did my album was my first headlining weekend at a club.
Yeah,
but I headlined places like one nights and stuff like that, one nighters, things like that. But it was my first booking at a club. So I think, but the thing is, then I was doing a lot of feature work.
Yeah,
I think as a feature you can kind of get it done.
Yeah,
it's better than doing these 10-minute spots.
I mean, I used to feature pretty consistently. Like that was, I would just try to go out at least once a month and get a feature week. But no, moving here. I mean, I guess my goals have shifted. I would prefer to do television stuff that enables me to headline rather than try to grind it out on the road anymore. Because I did that for a long time.
What do you mean television stuff that would allow you to headline? Like what?
Get a credit, like get some kind of credit, whatever the credit is now. Club.
There's none.
There's none anymore.
The credit is you're famous. Are you famous?
Nope.
Well, then it doesn't matter. The credit is, I mean, really what the credit is having a following online. And since you're good at all this online shit, that's what you should do.
But I do not have a following.
Yeah, but you'll get one.
There's a few. No, I've been on Twitter for a very long time, and
but you're not good at it. No,
I know. I'm not.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, I'm obviously
I have no idea.
No, because I only have like 8,000 followers, and I have some tweets that have like I have one tweet that has 30,000 retweets, and I only have 8,000 followers. Because people will follow
30,000?
30,000 retweets.
What's the 30,000 retweet hit?
I don't know. It's some pandery bullshit about feminism. it's barely a joke.
Come on, you know what it is.
No, I'm not doing it.
All right, I'll insert that later.
You can look it up. Yeah. But. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know how to build any because there's no consistency. That's the thing is I also have a big problem with editing where I just pump shit out, always because I also get like almost like manic where I think everything is funny and I'll produce a shit ton of garbage. This just doesn't make any sense.
But I mean that's half of it though. Is like I feel like consistency. Quality-wise, that's half of it, but really, I think more important is consistently putting things out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I also I rub people the wrong way. I'll get like followers, and then I'll just use the R word too many times or something, or fucking
retarded.
Yeah, I'll say retarded too many times.
You're not allowed to say.
It's almost like a Tourette's level thing where like. I know I'm not I have this impulse to just tweet shit that I know will bother people, and then nobody retweets it, and then I just watch the follower count drop because I can't help myself.
No way. I think that's secretly, in my opinion, and without even being familiar with all your work and all that stuff, that's like your superpower. Like that's what's gonna.
With getting in trouble, being unmarketable, and
it's not unmarketable. It's like you're like. You're like a king troll, man. You just like know how to get under people's skin, and it's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Well, hopefully there's a way to turn it into something, because it is. That's honest. I mean, that's the most fun is when you find like a new way to fuck with people. Maybe once a year I'll have like one good thing. You know, I feel like I'm worried that the child porn thing will be my big one this year.
I think that's a hell of a legacy.
My load.
Is
Yeah.
that website?
I've blown my load on the child porn.
I mean, if it's gonna be on one thing, I think that's the place to do it.
Yeah, I die on the way home. I get hit by a bus.
At least you have that child porn site.
Yeah. You wrapping up
I'm
there?
gonna wrap it on that. I think that's a good one.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
I'm gonna cut it before you said that, though. That sounds
All right.
that sounds like some R word shit.
Okay.
There you have it. Nick Mullen getting retarded, or R-worded, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, check him out on Twitter. That's Nick, N-I-C-K, Mullen, M-U-L-L-E-N. And be sure to check out childporn.sexy. That makes me laugh every time I say it, which is a pretty funny website. Also, I got shows this week. If you're in the Northeast, I'm breaking new comedy ground. I'm going to be at the Halligan Tavern in Derry, New Hampshire tonight, the 17th. I know it's not. I know who knows when you listen to this, so maybe it's not tonight. But September 17th. September 18th, I'll be at the North Hole in Manchester, New Hampshire. And September 19th, I'll be at Seasons in Bangor, Maine. Never been up to Maine. Looking forward to it. Read so many Stephen King books when I was a kid, and I like lobster. And that's all I know about your state. Sorry. Is there more to know? I'll find out when I get there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.